So the Mascot is often referred to as a bed for life, and it is just that. You know, it's been configured in a way that it can cater for all ages, and it can see the person through a number of developmental changes which may not always be understood or predicted. Let me give you an example of what I mean. So what we have here is a 2 meter long Mascot. So this is a full-size bed. This is going to cater for an adult. But quite often these beds are provided at a very early age. Now, to put a very young child in such a large bed may not actually look appropriate. But what we can do is use a divider system which effectively reduces the length of the bed to make it more size appropriate for a younger child. Now, this divider would be fixed in position, but what you're left with is a much more relevant space for a young child. And of course, as that child grows and develops, their needs are clearly going to change, or maybe they won't change, but the one thing that definitely will change is their size. So should that happen, and it will, this divider can be taken out, and then you're left with a larger product. You've not had to buy another one, and the child and the family can continue to use the bed they love. All Mascots come with electronic height adjustment as standard. This is really important because this is the way to help people prevent back injuries, so caregivers can work at safe working heights. So this is a standard function on all Mascots. It's a low access bed, but the motors are long enough to ensure that even though it starts from a very low position, it does come up to a safe working height, meeting all the current European standards. Another function, which is optional, is to have profiling. So this is where you can sit somebody up in bed, and you can also raise their legs as well. I'm going to show you another function, but only once I've closed the doors to show you how these work. So the doors are hinged, so you can effectively, individually, open and shut each door. There's a recessed spring-loaded catch which you pull up and then drop, and that locks the door in position. And you have the same on this side of the bed as well. So it really couldn't be easier or quicker. But there's an additional safety locking system, which is this metal locking bar at the top of the bed. This slides across to brace the doors, so that if somebody inside the bed is very active, perhaps pulling, pushing, kicking at the door, it's not going to burst open. To open the bed, you slide back the locking bar, and there's a two-handed security system which is designed to prevent the person in the bed from opening the doors themselves. So this top piece here slides backwards and forwards, but only once this piece is depressed. So to lock it, you slide it across. To unlock it, you slide it back. And now you can individually open each door. Now, the other function I spoke to you about is a tilt called Trendelenburg, an anti-Trendelenburg. And this is something that healthcare professionals will be absolutely aware of, but not all families will, because it is a medical term. I just want to explain what the term means. So it's a tilt. Think of it like a seesaw. The whole bed will tilt. So this is the head end of the bed. With the head end raising above the foot end, this is what we call anti-Trendelenburg. And of course, you have the reverse tilt, where the feet come up above the head. And this is called Trendelenburg. And these are functions that need to be prescribed by a healthcare professional. But they are an option on a Mascot. And the reason they're an option is because the motors doing the lift function are mounted on the outside ends of the bed, and to create the tilt, all we're doing is using the motors independently. So the Mascot has height adjustment, it meets all the standards regarding safe working heights, it has profiling, it also has the Trendelenburg function if needed, it's low access, pretty much does everything you would need it to do. With the Mascot, there are 5 different door height choices. So the lowest is 60 centimeters, which is to about here. This is an 80 centimeter door. Then we have a 90 centimeter, a 98, and even 120. And you can change any height to another height within that range of choices. So for example, this bed is 80 centimeters. If this was being used by a youngster who developed in an unexpected way and suddenly they were pulling to kneeling or pulling to standing, you may think we need a higher bed. Previously, that would have meant buying a new bed. But with the Mascot, it's simple. The doors are changed for the higher doors, and then there's an extension piece put on the back and both ends to bring the other 3 sides up to the same height as the new door. So for a fraction of the cost of buying a new bed, you've managed to completely reconfigure the existing bed. So this Mascot bed from Theraposture is padded. That's a choice, and it's a choice that can be made either at the time of providing the bed or it can be added later if needs change. Again, because the bed is modular. But the padding itself can be configured in all sorts of different ways. Now, the main choices that we look at with a family and a therapist is, does the padding need to be full height? So in this case, it is, but it doesn't have to be. Does the padding need to be over the top edge of the bed? Potentially to stop someone banging their chin or their face on the top of the door. Not everyone needs that, but again, if it is needed, it can be added. It's no problem. But by putting padding in a bed, what you're effectively doing is creating a visual barrier between the person in the bed and the people outside the bed, because you can't see through padding unless you have a window like this. So this is what we refer to as a clear, soft window, and it is just that, it's soft. So the window itself, you can see, is a double glazed pocket of air that is upholstered within the vinyl covering. So you can see through it, but it's soft. And this aligns with the perspex in the doors of the wooden structure. So you have an uninterrupted view in and out. And these windows can be put on 1, 2, 3, 4 doors on one side. And if you have doors on both sides, which is another option with the Mascot, we call that an 8-door bed, you can have windows there as well. Now, one of the things we're asked to do regularly, where this is an example of where needs have changed. So I'm trying to explain to you why the Mascot is so relevant in this sector. Quite often, when beds are provided, they're provided with doors just on one side. But there may be a situation where users need for help changes, where carers need to get to both sides of the bed. Now, previously, that would have meant that a bed with doors on one side would have to effectively go back into the equipment service, and a new bed would have to be provided with the additional access. With a Mascot, it's dead easy. That back panel comes off and a set of doors goes on. All you have to do is to buy a set of doors, and you've converted a 4-door bed into an 8-door bed. And this is the only bed in the world that you can do that with. It's absolutely unique, but it's one of the things we're asked all the time. The other things, of course, are higher doors, which we've already covered, but this does happen because needs do change. And these are 2 reasons amongst many why the Mascot has become a favourite product amongst therapists and equipment services throughout the whole of the United Kingdom. Because the Mascot is modular, there are lots of choices that you can make at the time the bed is provided. One of those isn't always clearly understood, but I want to explain it to you because it's fantastic. You'll notice that in some doors we have perspex, in others we have rails. Most beds that are made to a standard specification come with whatever the standard configuration is. If you want something different, then the bed massively goes up in price and it's quoted as a special. With the Mascot, these perspex and rails are housed within a frame that sits within the door frame. So this inner frame is held in with screws, 6 of them. If you undid those screws, that would pull out. It would be a wooden frame containing perspex. And of course, the same applies with the rails. All of these inserts are kept here at Theraposture in the UK in stock. So when we're prescribing a bed with a therapist and a family, if they say we want all perspex, it's not a special. Well, it is, but it's not a special with the price of a special. It's configured as a special, but it doesn't cost any more. Now, the benefit of doing this is that, for example, this bed has got padding, it's got a clear soft window, and if the window had rails in the door, it just wouldn't be as good as it is with perspex. So we can position perspex to align with clear soft windows so that you truly do have an uninterrupted view in and out of the bed. We can also put feed tube holes into the perspex, so effectively any ventilation equipment or feeding equipment can pass through the door. These can be positioned where you need them to be, in whichever door. And if we're pushing them into a perspex door, we cut a 38mm diameter hole, and that has a guard on the outside that slides across so that when the hole is not being used, when it doesn't have anything going through it, it can be blocked off so it's not an entrapment risk. So it's just another example of how clever the design of a Mascot is and how flexible it is going forward, because you may want to reissue this if you're an OT to another family, and that family may not want all perspex. They may want rails, and there may be a very good reason for that. Because it's a Mascot, because it's modular, all you have to do is just unscrew, take this out, put the rails in. They're in stock here in Westbury in Wiltshire. So that's the Mascot, a modular adjustable system cot. It does exactly what its name suggests. It's a bed for life. It can be reconfigured easily at relatively low cost, certainly much cheaper than providing a new bed. It can be individually specified and it's available from stock. This bed meets the needs of probably 80% of the families that OTs ask us to help them with. It's a fantastic piece of kit, it really is. And not only is it a fantastic design and it's very well made, but it can save a great deal of money over the duration of the period it's used. Because if you think a young child developing into a larger adult, they may need 2 or 3 different equipment provisions during that time, but only one with the Mascot. So with Theraposture, this is what we do. We are market leaders. We've been around for a very long time. We understand the needs of the people that use equipment like this, and we also understand the challenges that OTs are faced with. We're a friendly bunch. We're very knowledgeable as well, and we do go the extra mile. So please get in touch. We'd love to help you. So my name's Liam. Bye-bye.